Alright, I'm out here. And let me just give you the date. It's July 7th. Someone's trying to run me over. It's July 7th, 2014. Just so you could put this what I'm saying into context. There's a lot of talk of Nick Diaz versus Anderson Silva. Okay, so if nobody knows where these two guys are right now, Anderson Silva hasn't won a fight. And by the time they fight, it's going to be like years since he won a fight. He's like 40 years old. And not only that, you know, he's coming back from surgery from his leg getting snapped in half. You know, if you guys don't know, he was fighting Chris Weidman. He throws a leg kick, and the kick gets checked, and he breaks his leg in half. So Anderson Silva is not in a good spot, you know. And he was not looking good. He was getting whooped, and he got knocked out in the first fight. It didn't look good in the first round. And then even the fight when he broke his leg, I mean, he got his butt whooped the whole first round. Chris Weidman was just beating him down. So he's not in a very good spot. And now Nick Diaz hasn't fought or won a fight, which would have been years since he's won a fight. You know, both these guys are legends, and you know, and they're going to be remembered forever. But you know, neither one of them is really relevant in MMA right now. That's for sure. You know, Nick hasn't really looked good. He didn't look good against GSP at all. And you know, and before that, the Carlos Condit fight, I mean, he should have won that fight, but he really didn't look good. Condit did do a good job at that, made him, just took him out of his game. But that being said, Nick still won that fight. He won 3 rounds out of 5. But he really didn't look very good. And now he's been retired. And when he came back and fought GSP, he noticeably looked rusty. Probably hasn't been training as hard, and he's older now. And Anderson Silva is really old. Nick Diaz is old. And when I say old, I mean 30 years old, man. I've noticed when these fighters start hitting around 30, that they're on the decline. Now you look at Johnny Hendricks and Robbie. Look how great Robbie Lawler's doing. Well, yeah, they're a little past 30, and they're doing pretty good. But I mean, look at Machida. Just fought Chris Weidman. I mean, Machida is like 35, 36 years old. I mean, he's old. You know. So, you know, I think around age 30, most of these guys, you know, they have more experience, but really, you know, they're slowing down. And there's, like I said, there always is a few exceptions. Guys that go maybe a little past that 30 years old. Anderson Silva went up to around 35, or, you know, 36 or 37, something like that. You know, Dan Henderson into his mid-30s was fighting really good, but for most guys, they start to seem like they slow down, like around age 30. And just, you know, I was a personal trainer for a long time, and you know, your testosterone starts dropping off. Just even in your mid-20s, you get up around 26, 27, your testosterone is drastically dropping. You know. So anyway, so this fight, I don't know. This is definitely a moneymaker. You know, Nick got a big payday against GSP, which is kind of cool to see. You know, it's kind of, well, not really to see, but it's good for him. I mean, he did had a long career and get a big payday like that. So that was kind of neat. But as far as who would win this fight, man, it's hard to say. Like, I mean, obviously I would say Anderson Silva would destroy Nick Diaz. But first of all, Anderson Silva is way bigger. He's still fast. He's still Anderson Silva. he's still going to be, he's got that one strike power, and I think he could catch Nick Diaz. I mean, Nick Diaz is, you know, kind of slow moving, but, you know, it seems like his, I would say Nick Diaz is like, it's like his kryptonite is wrestlers, but, you know, that really wasn't the case with like Condit. Condit's not really like a strong wrestler, and, you know, like I said, I think he won that fight, but Condit definitely took him out of his game. So I don't know. This is one of those fights that's kind of stupid, but it sounded. I heard some talk about it, so I thought I would talk about it. And I mean, I don't know. I would definitely be excited to see it. I'd rather see Nick Diaz whoop on some cans, guys, bottom of the barrel UFC. I'd rather see Anderson Silva whoop on some bottom of the barrel UFC fighters if they want to keep fighting. That's what I would rather see. And then it's more relevant to have him do that. I mean, if Anderson Silva can't beat somebody who's low-rank UFC fighter, well, then it's time to retire. And if he can beat him, it'd probably be a pretty exciting fight to see him beat up on some guy that's not that great of a fighter. And same with Nick Diaz. I'd rather see Nick Diaz beat on some cans than go in there and get knocked out against Anderson Silva, you know. But it's kind of an intriguing fight. But that being said, it's really not, because if Nick Diaz wins, oh, he beat an over-the-hill 40-year-old Anderson Silva. And so, you know, you don't really... It's like Fedor. I mean, like, you know, when Fedor started losing, and, you know, it obviously wasn't the same Fedor as in Pride, so when you beat him, the bragging rights just weren't the same. So I don't know. I don't really know what to say about this fight. But, you know, from a money standpoint, they should make it happen, and I would definitely tune in to watch. And it would definitely be a big fight, but I think I'd rather just not see either of them fight. I think they should just go away, man. I mean, Nick's still pretty young, but he obviously is not really into fighting. I mean, he was really, 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 like, really sharp, fighting all the time in Strikeforce, and he just really fit in well in Strikeforce. And you know, that would have been the time, like, if they had a Nick Diaz, you know, versus Anderson Silva, when Nick Diaz was on like a 9 or 10 fight win streak, and when Anderson Silva was on his win streak. I mean, that'd be the time to put these fights together, but for some reason they never do. You know, like a John Jones versus Anderson Silva, you know, before Anderson Silva lost to Chris Weidman. But they don't do that because, oh, we don't want one of our superstars to lose. But then look, then your superstar loses anyway, you know. Or it's like Fedor versus Brock Lesnar. Like, they didn't want Fedor to fight Brock because he's so big, and, you know, they didn't want him to lose, is what I think. And then look, eventually he ends up losing anyway. I mean, all these great fighters. I mean, GSP lost to, you know, Hendricks. I mean, everyone knows that's a loss. And so, you know, it's only a matter of time before all these number one fighters start to become number two, number three. So, I don't know. Anderson Silva, I don't know why he wants to fight. He's made so much money. Nick Diaz, I could see why he would want to fight, because he's going to make like $1 million. Unless Anderson Silva just wants to make some more money, because they know that when they retire, they're not going to, you know, be making as much money. But it seems like Anderson Silva could do commercials or something. Nick Diaz really ain't, I don't really think he's such a big draw as far as like commercials and stuff, or just making money away from fighting. I think he can walk down the street and people wouldn't recognize him. Or Anderson Silva, you know, Anderson Silva, if he put on normal clothes, I think he could blend in too, because he kind of looks like a lot of other people out there. You know, so I don't know. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I don't really want to see either of them fight. But I really don't. I guess I just kind of figured out while I was talking, I really don't want to see them fight each other. I mean, it's just kind of pointless, man. The whole purpose of fighting is, you know, it seems like it has to have a purpose to me. Like I remember when Fedor, when they had him fighting, like at the end of his career, and he fought Monson, and that was kind of a relevant fight because you're like, oh, is Fedor gonna you know, beats Monson, he's gonna maybe come to the UFC, because Monson's a good fighter. Jeff Monson's a good fighter, you know, a pretty well respected fighter. But then after that, it's like they just kept giving him all these guys, and you know, when they gave him I can't even think of his name, the guy with the big legs who fought in UFC like 10 years ago. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's a really famous guy, I just can't think of it. You know, it's like, man, what's the point of this fight? I'm like, this is stupid, you know. But that's kind of how I feel about this. It's like, what's even the point? So, yeah. All right, that's my take on that. All right, I'll catch you guys later.